Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Mr. Z is in, right? Hopefully you guys can hear me. Let me get a comment in the comment box. I see Victor Creed's in here. I see Longo's in here. Hopefully you guys can hear me. If you guys can, let me get a comment in the comment box because I am in an area where I don't usually frequent. Well, I am in the Popeyes line, so I am in Popeyes line, but I'm not always in the Popeyes line in this particular Popeyes. Yes, I'm going to work. And yeah, so if you guys can hear me, let me know. And yeah, hopefully you guys, and I forgot to put a link in the description in my title. Hopefully you guys were able to check out the video that I put up. Maybe you guys were not. Okay, so Miss Stamps, right? Um, so this young lady, speaks about wanting to be free as a bird. She talks about the dating scene. She talks about her celibacy. She says that she's somewhat of an introvert, right? All of that, and I just continue. And she's traveled here and there, and she spoke about you know, kind of these three black girls that were kind of mean to her, two in particular, and it's just a just jumbled up, mess. And I just was brought to the thought that these are your social commentators and the women and the people and the black people and these social commentators and these they give these video essays and these think pieces, and the problem is that these creatives, these social commentators, these PMCs, we're like rejiggering the entire society to work for these people, right? And it's mainly the top 20%, but you can really boil it down to like these creatives, especially on this level, they're really like in the top 10% ish of not just capital, but like their outsized influence and power over society, right? And like that is what is frightening about these people, is how much influence they have, and then how many of our young people want to imitate them, right? When I was listening to the young lady speak, I was what really hit me, and one of the things that really hit me was her saying, oh, we're still doing that race thing. And I'm like, and see, that's when we get into the issues. From my understanding, she lived on one side of the 405, which sounds like the money side of the 405, right? I don't know. For my people that's in Cali or that's been to California, y'all can explain to me. For those of you that did watch the video, like I said, I regret not putting link in the description earlier, so maybe you guys don't understand what I'm saying. But yeah, so she says that she lived on one side of the 405. She didn't necessarily grow up rich. I don't know, whatever. But when she spoke about these young women that she was, I want to say she military related, but these young women that she was working with, and one of them was, well, two of them were really mean to her and rude to her, and they treated her like she wasn't black, and one of them actually made that comment. It really hit her, and she was like, oh, we're still doing this race thing. And she had to say it because black people like this always say it or infer it or imply it or suggest it, which is the real racism they ever really experienced was from other black people. Yawn, right? White people have been so swell to them, the real racism they've ever experienced is from other black people, right? So the young lady is speaking, and I'm I'm listening to her speak, and I'm somewhat afraid because these are the people that have the ears of important and influential people. This young lady has some 670 plus subscribers, 670 some odd thousand subscribers, so pretty much 680,000 subscribers. And that's a lot. That's a lot, right? No, it's not in the millions, but that's still a lot. And yeah, you know, and what's frightening, she's speaking, and she's speaking about, she wants a man but doesn't need one, and how do you, when you're satisfied with you and your life, how do you kind of make this thing work? And it is frightening, you guys, listening to her speak and knowing like this is the class of people that many of our young people want to imitate. And this is like the model now, the model that, and she said that what got me to is her saying she's not really attached to anything. And I'm like, see, that's the thing. Like, when you say, one, you're not attached to anything, and two, are we still doing this race thing when you're speaking about black people? Unlike you, the vast majority of black people don't have a choice but to be black, and many of us can't adopt this like non-threatening valley girl, well, valley girl kind of um enunciation of words and stuff. Like, we're not that, especially for us as black men. We don't get to play that game at all. Even the most air quotes non-threatening of us don't get to be you, right? So this, you want to be free as a bird, you're not attached to anything, right? um it screams a particular class, but then not only class, but like most black people can't engage in that. DeVito said social work is here. Right? Most black people can't engage in that. And I think that's that's one of the issues we're dealing with. Is more a certain amount of people, namely women, namely black women, that want to be part of this particular class. And the class is not just income, it's the way they move about, right? It's the way they speak, it's the way they present. They want to be part of that, but yet they're still weighed down by their blackness, and then they resent black men for this oftentimes, right? um and I'm gonna have to pause right here for a second, you guys, because I just pulled up to the window, so I'm going to mute myself, and I'll be there in a minute. I'll be back in a minute. Y'all speak amongst yourselves. Artisan, you might beat me this time because I haven't played in like over 2 months. I still want to race though. I'm gonna pause again, you guys. I'll be right back. Okay, I just guess I'll unmute for now because the people are taking forever with my food, of course. But okay, so we're back, for now at least. Um, so yeah, the young lady was speaking, and I'm listening to her speak, and I'm just thinking are these are the people that mingle with influential people, or the children of influential and important people. The young lady said she was 26. Um, and like I said, the I don't I want to be as free as a bird. I don't have no real attachments, or I don't attach myself to anything. All of that is like really frightening. Here we go. Okay. All right. Give me a second, you guys. I'm sorry. Guess what? Thank you. All right, and we're on our way. All right, we're good to go. Yeah, so I don't want to be attached to anything, all of that. So that's the thing. Like I don't. Once again, I don't think most black people even have the luxury to even speak like her, think like her, let alone speak like her, let alone it actually live that life, right? And I like when this is the class of people that becomes the buffer class between the rich white elites and everyone else. So these creatives, these PMCs, these kind of social media influencers, they distort the general message of what black people are saying, the general message, right? Because, black people think differently. Yes, we're not all a monolith. This is true, but there are certain things that we hold true to for the most part, right? And these particular people distort that when they start doing the whole well. And I'm sorry, once again, it is South Florida, so of course it's raining because it's not hot. And like I told y'all before, if it's not hot, then it's probably raining. So, right? So these people distort the overall message of black people in general, black, obviously black men, but this is not a black man, so I'm not even going to hold her to that. And how do you advocate for black people when you have people like this saying, "Oh, y'all still doing that race thing?" Because they felt bullied or made fun of by a handful of sisters. And let's be honest, when the young lady was speaking, and like I said, there's a link in the description for those of you that need to know what I'm referencing. Um, she was speaking about three young women that she worked with, and two of them were kind of mean to her and whatever. Three young black women, I'm sorry. And I would suspect that those young women were probably jealous. They probably heard how she sounded. They probably thought she grew up with a silver spoon up her rear end, right? They probably thought she was pampered and privileged, and she does give that impression at first glance. And I don't know if she was or not. This is the one video I'm really reviewing of her. I'm gonna watch more later. But these creatives that do the like, I'm black, but I'm not black. Like I'm not. There's something to be said about saying you won't be weighed down by being black, and I agree. There's something to be said about that and actually living that. And then there's something to be said about you being the person that gets elevated because you don't limit yourself, air quotes, limit yourself to black stereotypes and standards and ideas and ideologies, and you won't be the walking stereotype, right? And there's a lot of black people that live this, I won't be the walking stereotype. I'm going to do everything in my power to not be the stereotype, which in itself isn't a bad thing, but once again, like all things, can become a very bad thing when you go out of your way to disprove all the stereotypes, even when they're not necessarily negative. And then you do the whole, oh, you black people are doing, the race thing talk. Okay. And I think that's where I want to center this conversation on the group of black people, namely black women, who, and I saw that super chat. I'm going to read it when I get a chance. I need to be at a red light. Give me a second. The group of black people that's doing the whole, I won't be limited by my race talk. Because they start doing the, it's not about race talk, right? Or what black people have been the most racist towards me talk. And that's a slippery slope because you start allowing, whether you realize it or not, non-black people to do the, well, y'all are racist too talk. Right? Well, don't y'all have issues with black people that present like this? Huh. Right? Y'all discriminate against your own. Right? You start getting black people, you start getting non-black people that start doing that in conversation. Which, remember, doesn't just stay at conversation. Right? If these people talk like this, they think like this, and you don't know who's influential, who's powerful, and who knows who. Right? Who can affect policy? Who knows who that's hiring at your local wherever? Right? But influential, and this is why I mentioned how many subscribers she has, because it matters. And if you go through her comments, you see a bunch of non-black people in her comments. Right? And so you're influential, you have a large non-black audience, and you're doing the people that have been racist towards me are black people talk. We could chalk it up to her being young. She's 26 from my understanding. But this is when we get into dangerous territory. And this is why I critique these people like this, right? These social media commentators, these creatives. It's like, and I will respect FD on this. He said it himself. He got to be careful on how he speak about black issues because he know he has a sizable white audience, right? Who is just salivating to watch him throw black people, even black men, under the bus, so that they can then use that as an excuse to do it themselves. But you have other black people where, with their resentment, with their anger, with them not really understanding, some of it is ignorance. I will give it that. Some of it is ignorance, some of it is not deliberate, some of it is deliberate. They speak recklessly about other black people in the presence of white people. Because for them, I'm not of that class anyway. I don't have to worry about police brutality. I'm not a black man. I'm not Shaquita from down the street. I present like this. I speak like this. My friend circle is like this. I don't have to worry about any of these things everyday black people have to worry about. So I can speak as recklessly about other black people as I want, right? What the Hottest Soul says, free like a bird, like Nelly Furtado. I'm like a bird. I want to fly away. I don't know where my heart is. Hey, the song is playing in my mind now. Shout out to What a Hottest Soul. Thank you for the super chat. That was funny. But yeah, man, I mean, like she said, so she said she's doing well for herself. She doesn't need a man, but she wants a man. Where have we heard this before? A million times, especially from women in general under the age of 50, but definitely from black women that are of this particular kind of social class, not just economic, but social class, right? They move and they rub elbows with a particular type of like yuppie white people, and she said herself that's what she's mainly attracted to is yuppies. Like that's her people. And you can hear it in her voice, and I don't think she's fronting. That's how she really sounds. This is not one of those sisters that were born and raised in Alabama, but then they got some fake Valley Girl voice going on. No, this is the true, like the real McCoy, right? So yeah, so what's frightening about her is not just her, it's what she represents and how many people of power and influence, white people, that she rub elbows with, or people like her rub elbows with, and then they sound like this when they talk to those people, right? Where like the most racist people you've ever encountered were black people. And she didn't say that verbatim, but pretty much when it comes to her, at least, right? She's doing the whole, I'm a different type of black person and black people are mean to me because I didn't grow up like them hood niggas over there. Because I don't sound like them, and because I don't move like them, and because I don't talk like them, they're mean to me. And I'm just free as a bird, not held down by anything, don't have no attachments to anything, right? And black women are jealous of me because of that. And definitely I can't, you know, I definitely can't see myself, you know, attaching to any black man because most black men are definitely not on my level, right? Which, by the way, weren't her words. She did not say that. What I'm saying is, when you're dealing with this particular group of people, their outsized influence and power society, these are the type of black women. Oftentimes when white women tell you they got black friends, these are the type of black women they're talking about. The black women that tell you the people that's been mean to them and most racist to them have been other black people, right? These are the type of black people oftentimes that black people run into, and we're like, something's not sitting right, right? This is not even the one. This is not even the sister that grew up in the burbs and came to grandma's house every other weekend. This is not even that, right? And that's what I want to stress today. Their outsized influence and power over the discourse. These are the ones that go to really high-ranking PWIs, second-tier schools, Ivy Leagues, right? Right. So that's what's frightening about people like this. Victor Creed said the special Negro. Exactly. The special and I don't want to do the whole black people are a monolith thing. I don't think that we are. And I don't think that we necessarily have to move. See, other people get to be full humans and have their full range of class and and financial ability and all of that and still be seen as human beings, right? Black people don't necessarily have that luxury, and it would be nice if some of the black people that's part of this particular group realize that, because when they talk, they try so hard to separate themselves from this lowly class of Negroes that keep on getting in trouble, keep on getting killed by the cops, keep on getting harassed, that their friends their white friends snipe at them for, or make fun of them for, or whatever. They try so hard to separate from these group of people while still wanting to be accepted by these group of people. That's the funny part. They try so hard, but then they make commentary like, you know, the people that have been the most racist towards me have been other black people. They make that type of commentary, right? That, and maybe it's possible that I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, but I don't think so. I think she is indicative of a certain class of black women, right? A certain class of black people that really want really, really bad to be seen as different from as different from other from the rest of the community. And I'm sorry, you guys, I got preoccupied. I was kind of doing hand signals with a coworker just now. But yeah, they get preoccupied with that difference, and then they get into positions of power and influence. They're working behind the scenes in political offices. They're your HR managers. They're your there's a particular career field I really want to say. Pretty much behind the scenes, behind your influential white people sometimes, right? I'm reminded of screenwriters all the time, because I think that's a group of people that we don't give much play to, is these people that's kind of in the background, that work, the political aides that work for your local politician, right? The assistant manager at certain stores and venues, right? These particular people, that women like her often occupy those positions, and they think like this about other black people, right? And they give off this very, very non-threatening, cultured, yeah, I've been here, I've traveled here, I've done this, I'm a different type of black. Like Victor Creed said, I'm a special Negro, and the special Negroes always get elevated. And the special Negroes oftentimes have issues with other black people. And so when you see them in position of power, you think you have a friend. Little do you know, right? You think you have an ally. You think you have someone that's going to fight for you. They're not. Right? Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And so that's why I emphasized her, because it was really that I don't have attachments. I try not to have no attachments. Like she said, and we hear this often, I don't need a man. I want a man, right? Because they're making good money. This is a content creator. This is a creative. She's making good YouTube money. So and because she lives in what she said, Upper Manhattan. So you could tell this is a particular class of black woman, right? She's not imitating this class of black woman. She is this class of black woman, right? The show number of an art gallery. You see what I'm saying? Design art said this. You, bro, like, yeah, this is kind of that borderline artsy. Um, like I said, this is the type of black woman that fits in well, and she said she fits in well with yuppies. So she said it herself, and I can't give her a better description than that. She fits in well with yuppies. This is the one that you bring around your well-to-do liberal friends and even some of your conservative friends, and she would present well, right? She would come off non-threatening, but this is the person that when they handpick which Negroes they want in the space to represent other black people, this is the type of black woman. Because they know she don't really know much about black issues. She definitely don't know nothing about black men. She's essentially, effectively, and I don't say this to take away her blackness, air quotes, take away her blackness, but she's effectively a white woman, right? I guarantee you, her class politics is of that of a white liberal or white conservative woman. Not even a black conservative or a black liberal woman, but a white liberal or white conservative woman, right? She's effectively a white woman, and I'm being careful with saying that because, like I said, I don't like doing the whole, well, because you don't fit perfectly in this box, then you're white. I'm not doing that. But I'm saying, just based off she herself says she fits in well with the yuppies. We know that's almost exclusively white, right? Yes, there's some black yuppies, yes, but that's almost exclusively white. And even by evidence, by her words, the particular class he fits in is the class of people that can go anywhere. They, excuse me, they don't have any attachments. They don't have anything that they swear by per se. They can move and get up and go. They don't have any children. They're doing really well financially. They're single and ready to mingle, maybe. And these people are often elevated to be the voice to speak for black people, even black women. You think she could really speak for black women? Even the ones that we don't really like that, right? And I'm not even saying that she's particularly going after that slot, but she's the one that they elevate, whether she wants that slot initially or not, because it's how unoffensive she comes off. It's the fact that they recognize the way she speaks, the way she moves, the way she acts, like a white girl, right? And once again, that's not me trying to take away her being a black woman. That is to say, when she essentially said what we hear a lot of these particular type of Negroes say is the people that have been racist towards me have been other black people. You already know where that's going, right? You already know where that's. Whenever you hear a black person say that, you already know where that's going, right? So what we have here is what many of the black women we hear in these spaces, primarily the divestors, this is what they aspire for their daughters to be. She is who they want their daughters to be. This is the archetype, right? Essentially, a caramel dipped, chocolate dipped, waffle color dipped, right? White woman. A light skin, mixed, dark skin, caramel, chocolate, dipped white woman. Particularly upper middle class white woman. Particularly the professional managerial class. The ones that now can work from home. So they don't have no attachments, right? You'll talk to her today, she's in New York. You talk to her in 2 weeks, she's in LA. You talk to her a month from then, she's in Miami. You talk to her 2 months from then, she's in Dallas. Back to 2 months away, she's in Chicago. Right? This, like, 20 or so percent, because yes, she's a creative, but I'm expanding her out to talk about even just the professional managerial class and how much influence they have over society, and how even the elites got to kowtow to them a little bit because the elites are using them as the buffer class compared to the other 80%. So the professional managerial class doesn't, that influencer um creative class, the ones that actually make some money, they have such an outsized amount of power and influence over society now, and the discourse and what we focus on and how much attention and how much time we spend on particular topics in American society. They have an outsized amount of influence on these things. If y'all want to know why, how am I going to say this? The T part of LGBTQ, why that part of the conversation is so big now. Look at the professional managerial class. Look at the creative class of America. And I guarantee you'll find your answer in that class. Not so much the elite, unless we're putting our tinfoil hats on, and I won't doubt y'all if y'all do it. But if we're not putting our tinfoil hats on, when you come down under that 1%, that other 19, that's where you find much of the agenda setting. Not saying they don't have an insane amount of power, but they do have some sway because they still got to be catered to because they're the buffer class. Right? Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. But yeah, that, you know, it is frightening when you really think about these people's influence, right? Because they're the ones that get elevated. They are the ones that get elevated, right? Give me a second, you guys. I'm clicking something and it's not okay. Let's see. Is my phone acting stupid? I think. Okay, I'm trying to. Okay, we'll just go with that then. All right. Yep. Oh, there we go. All right, we're back in business. But yeah, so you know, I think that I really want to stress that y'all are gonna run into these people, especially if you're mingling, if you're in the dating scene, depending on where you are, because she's in Manhattan, and and that, from my understanding, she said, um, she mentioned the 405, so I'm guessing she's from that kind of LA-ish area, um, that SoCal area maybe, um, and now she's in New York. Now she's living the life. Victor Creed said, "Do we need a GoFundMe for this phone you got, bro?" No, 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 not yet, not yet. Yeah, I was pressing something and it just wasn't coming up. I actually don't think it was my phone. I think it was YouTube. Um, Shout out to Toya. Um, you know, and yeah, so I make space for maybe me making a mountain out of a molehill for this, but I wanted to talk about these particular people because this particular class, it's not just about black, but these people are the curators. These are like, um, I hear a bunch of people call them the Negro whisperers, right? The Negro whisperer class. These are the people that like non-black people, but primarily white people use to have the conversation, right? So like when you want to talk about black issues or black people, these are the people that they like handpick to explain your Negroes, right? Explain what's going on in Negrotopia over there, Negroland. What's going on with your peoples, with your community, your people over there, and that these are the people that they elevate oftentimes, right? This is how you get um coolest monkey in the jungle on a black boy at H&M, and then you find out a bunch of black people signed off on that. Who are those black people? Right? Victor Creed said, explain, colored woman. Exactly. Give me a second, you guys. I will pause right here. I gotta go run in real quick. Y'all speak amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. I am back. I thought about another name, you guys. The other name was Negrolandia. Right? Yeah. So I mean, look. Explain your people from Negrolandia. What y'all got going on over there? But yeah. So excuse me. I think that's why I just want to emphasize with this, y'all. I don't even want to say be careful because these these people in and of themselves are not a threat. They're just living their lives. I think the real concern is pretty much saying, "Oh, you black people are still on that black thing." Like those weren't her exact words, but that was the sentiment. For those of you that watched the video, y'all could correct me if I'm wrong. The link is in the description. Like and then saying you don't have any real attachments, and I think like that's kind of the goal for this particular class of people, is to not be held down by anything. And there's nothing actually wrong with that. That might actually be something to aspire to. The problem is they get there and they look down on everyone else, or they look at everyone else weird, like, oh, you're still on that black thing. Yeah, but black people don't got a choice. I mean, I hope you don't ever have to find out the wrong way that black people don't got a choice but to be black, because it's not really up to you. That's why we call it a forced classification, because it wasn't up to you in the first place. I hope you don't have to find out the hard way, right? I hope you don't have to find out the hard way. But I mean, she's in a particular class of this kind of yuppie white liberals, right? So she probably won't. So what is a black upper middle class woman, 26, 27, no attachments, well-to-do, living in Manhattan, like, we don't see, pretty much herself said she most identifies with the yuppie. That's her kind of group of people. That's her people. What can black people do with a person like that? I'm not saying you can't do anything with them. I'm not even saying you should do anything with them. But the question is, what can you do? Even if you wanted to, what can you do with a person like that? They want to be they want to be accepted, but then their politics oftentimes is all type of messed up, right? Because they're effectively, and once again, I'm not trying to say this to be insulting, they're effectively a white woman, a liberal white woman, right? Yeah. And black people are supposed to do what with this? Black men. And I'm not, and I wouldn't even be surprised. Like the way she sounds, she ain't checking for no brother anyway, right? So even with that, what are black women supposed to do with that? Because I know many of you want your daughters to be something like her. Well, even if you don't want your daughters to be something like her, I just want you to know that's probably what you're gonna get, the way you speak. And the areas of YouTube you frequent, that's the type of daughters y'all gonna be raising. Right? So yeah, I mean, I want everybody to check out the link in the description. Um, she already got a lot of views anyway, so I ain't really right. Um, and y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Uh, Maybe Mr. Z is reaching. Like I said, I did find it. All that kept on screaming up at me is like, this is the class of people that white liberals elevate oftentimes, definitely behind the scenes, because these are the type of people that they most identify with, especially when you start dealing with that kind of professional managerial class of people, black people, excuse me, the ones in their outsized influence and power, the ones that don't really have any attachments. They look at being black as an incidental characteristic, and it should be. And in an ideal world, it would be. But unfortunately, you still live in America, and yeah, they don't work like that. Now, they might tell you they work like that, but they don't work like that, right? Yeah, and everything from the way she was speaking and her actually straight up saying yuppies are her people. I mean, I can't even. There's no way for me to say it insultingly, and I'm not trying to. When she said it herself, right? And what her interests are, and she spoke about um um going out with a group of girls, and everybody's trying to get laid and hook up. The men are trying to get laid and hook up. The women are trying to get laid and hook up, and she's not, and like she's, you know, she doesn't define herself by these type of things. And I'm like, yeah, you're different, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? There is nothing wrong with that. But you're still a black woman in America. Yeah. Okay, you guys. I'll pause right there. This yeah. I watched this. Somebody sent it to me and wanted me to speak on it. Um, and I did, and I'm actually happy that they sent this to me, because what kept on screaming to me is like, okay, she admitted she's 26, she's celibate, or she was at least at one point celibate, and she kind of led the conversation off into a different direction. And what, like I said, what screamed at me was the not attached to anything, wanting to be as free as a bird, wanting a man but not needing a man, having all of your ducks in a row. And y'all go ahead and like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Having all of your ducks in a row, pretty much wanting a person on your maturity level at 26 years old when you got all this money. Yeah, I mean, you're in the right environment for you. If you're gonna meet that person, she is in the right environment. We got to give her that in Manhattan. But have fun trying to get a 26-year-old, 27-year-old, 30-year-old, probably white guy with even more money than you and more status than you and access than you. Have fun trying to get him to actually commit to you when he knows he's the it man. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, so that free as a bird thing, and the comment about essentially, oh, you black people are still on that black thing. Race is still a thing. Race still matters. Like, yeah. Some of us are not lucky enough to be you. Yeah. Like I said, these are the people that white society elevates. These are the people. These are the hand-picked Negroes, right? The non-threatening ones, the ones that remind them of their daughter but chocolate dipped. GC said, really can't get past the way she speaks. Super grating. I mean, look, y'all already know I'm from South Florida. I grew up with white women, obviously, that sound exactly like her. Not so many black women, but still some black women. But white women that I've been around white women that sound exactly like her. I've worked with white women that sound exactly like her. So it is grating. I'm not saying it's not. No, it's grating on me too. But I'm a bit more used to it, right? And I know like these people have a lane, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that particular social class. I have an issue with how much influence they have, especially over national discourse. Before we even do race, before we start speaking about race, elites using them as the buffer class. And then when we start speaking race, the black people that occupy her class, that got a contempt for other black people, because we're pretty much the in their minds, we're pretty much the anchor around their ankle, right? Holding them away from being perfect white people, right? So yeah. Right, y'all? So yeah. Um I'll pause right there, truly. Love, peace, and chicken grease. All right, y'all. Um, yeah. Yeah, man. I, I'm really trying to temper, because I think there's more to be said, but I want to check out her channel more before I really start giving an opinion. Like, yeah. But this video right here, gave me a lot. And GC's right. I got the same feeling I think you got. I ain't gonna confirm it yet until I watch more content. Right? Let's see. Let's see. And I truly pause right here. All right, y'all. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Mr. Z out.